you know, the power of relationships, I think, is so important. And no matter how good online provision is, and, you know, me having the greatest Google Classroom of life.
Okay, hello everyone. In this episode, I have Hannah from London. Thank you, Hannah, for accept
Hi.
my invitation. It's very honor for me to have you here. Yeah, today we're going to talk about online PE learning in the new normal era. You know, it's been 1 year. It's been 1 year.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I still remember last year when the first, I think around March, and then the school closed, and we don't know what we have to do. And then,
exactly. Our last day was March 27th, and we had already started reducing down our numbers and staff on site. And I think I was one of the last ones. And then, yeah, March 27th, that was the last proper day. And then, you know, we've been back in like little bursts since then, but now we're back in lockdown 3.0.
it's very challenging. I think it's not just very stressful for the student, it's very stressful for us as a teacher as well.
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, let me start, introduce myself. Hannah, I'm teaching in Sampurna Academy, Jakarta. Yay! I promote my school. Soon we got reward from the principal. Yeah, and Hannah, can you tell us a little bit your background, if you don't mind?
So I am a PE teacher in a school for excluded children. So that means that they've gone to a mainstream school, they've been kicked out for poor behaviour, or they've moved into the area and they don't have a school. And so then they'll come to us and they might pick up behaviours. And so, you know, being rude to teachers, not wanting to attend lessons, everything like that. And so we have to, our job is to try and get them into another school. Us as a provision, we are not their long-term goal. We want them to, you know, work with us, work on a couple of personal things, know how to address certain ways, you know, problems in life, and then go off, tackle the big wide world and make the best of a situation.
That's a great one. I
Well,
think
we try.
I think this is my first time to
All right.
know all of that one. Interesting. And how's the kids going? Already been about 1 year during this pandemic.
So the first lockdown one was more challenging because nobody knew what to do. We had already started some online learning, and it was more getting the students used to using the equipment, so like their laptops at home, making sure they had access to the internet. That's a massive thing. And you know, it more so than anything, their welfare, making sure they had enough food. When they come to us, you know, they get breakfast in the morning, they have their hot meal at lunchtime, and then, you know, we know that they're okay and we can send them off. But all of that was gone, and so we had to put in some routines to make sure that they were okay. So we had we put together a call team, so every day we was calling a group of students, and as the PE teacher, I put together a little PE goodie bag. So lots of just like fitness equipment and my key stage 3, so year 7, 8 and 9 could be using. Keep a bit active, try and restore some family relationships, you know, especially those who didn't have a good family relationship and now they've got to spend all this time with them. Like, I needed them to have something available to them without them having to go out and risk themselves and catching any kind of virus, and then bringing it home, or even if they didn't get anything, bringing it home to their family environment. You know, some of our kids are their mums are carers for older family members, and you don't want to put the entire family unit at risk. So me and the head teacher went round and dropped off these little goodie bags to my students, some little instructions on what to do with some of the activities, how to create new ideas, and then I set up my Twitter and Instagram accounts so that they could then tweet me and message me their scores. But since September and we've been back, lots more is on Google Classroom. I don't know what platform you use. Most schools are using Google Classroom at the moment. I think younger schools.
We use Google Classroom as well. Okay,
yeah, the younger schools are using, like, I think it's Class Dojo and those ones. They're for more primary, but they're working well on it. Some schools, haven't had good responses from it, but we made sure when we had them back in that period between September and December, as broken as it was, and you had so many students out for isolating and then coming back and they'd miss a chunk, you just had to put everything on. So my entire September to December was all online.
How is the class right now? It still keep going online learning, or?
We're online learning still.
How many times a week did you run with
them? Twice a week I have them. We have one lesson is compulsory, the other one is more of a drop-in session. But after we're on half term right now, so after half term we're starting a new timetable, then hopefully they'll be back within the next few weeks. We're due to be opening back up soon. We're waiting for the government guidelines.
Are they in primary school? Primary level or secondary level one?
Secondary, so we're 11 to 16.
Yeah. Oh, 11 to 6. So it's not very challenging for them for online learning, isn't it? Because
it is challenging because they haven't been used to it. Some of my students have had such big gaps in learning where they haven't gone to school before joining us. Okay. They don't know how to use. Half of them don't know how to use the equipment, and so that's why when we did go back in September, even though we was in school, I got everyone's laptops out and everything, all their written work now is on Google Classroom. So we had to try and get them used to using it so that when we then went into lockdown, everyone knew what to do.
Sorry, what is the efficient tools that you always use with the kids for your PE class? Like me, I'm using the platform, yes, Google Classroom, but other tools like, I don't know, did you run like assessment or something, like a quiz, something like that with them?
I set my own quizzes on Google Classroom using Google Forms, and I take it from the GCSE specification or the questions, so I get them used to the specific type of wording that I want them to. Otherwise, so over here we've got like supplementary websites that they can use, like GCSE, BBC Bite Size. That's a good one. For some other subjects, you can use like Oak National Academy. But there's lots of other things that I like to direct them to. But I don't want them to get too distracted from the main thing. If I think it's worthwhile that they watch a documentary, I'll direct them to it. Otherwise, we do such a straight syllabus. Okay. I don't want them veering off. The only veering off that we'll do is when everything is normal. I take them to a university for the day.
Finger crossed.
Yeah, I take them to a university for the day and they apply lots of the knowledge that they've had. So they'll go on the treadmills and do VO max testing. They'll do vertical jumps and be able to test each other out, how to do some rehabilitation work on an injury. That's the only kind of thing that I like to do.
And I wanted to connect to mental health.
Yeah.
How do you deliver mental health for that?
So lots of our students, you know, as they have come from families that are having issues, both as a unit with other organisations, some of our students will come to us and will have a serious need. So at school, we've got 2 social workers and we have a counsellor as well. We can, as teachers, we can direct them to these people, or the students, there's a drop-in time as well, so they can, if they feel like they need to go and speak about something, they can go and take themselves. But you know, I have a really good relationship with these kids, and I think that's the beauty of being a PE teacher. You know, we get to see them at possibly their most vulnerable when they're out there on the playing field, and then when they're in a different state of mind, when we're doing theory work, you know, lots of them will only see their teachers in one frame of mind, whereas we get both. And you know, anyone that comes into school and would have like an injury or a mark on them, we're going to be the ones that are more likely to see that, because you know, they're going to be wearing PE kit and everything, and we're going to be able to see it. Of course, that's more of the physical one, but in terms of their mental health, I feel like they are more likely to come and talk to us about anything that's going on in their lives.
What is your challenge or obstacles running that
During the
class?
pandemic?
During the pandemic, of course.
Generally.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, my challenge number 1, I miss being with them. I miss being in school. I miss having all my equipment, and I want them all to be active. I've already told them all, as soon as we get back to school, you're running, because you've been sitting down for however many weeks. You are just going to be doing a unit of running, so get ready.
Yeah.
And they were all like, oh, okay. But they'll do it. But I need them to, you know, make sure that they can, when they come to us, they have, because they've had such big gaps in learning, they've got really poor motor skills. You know, I'm having to reteach them how to hold a racket. And so after the first lockdown, and we returned after the summer holidays, you know, the skills went back again. And I'm really conscious that that is going to happen again. And I've tried to inform them and instruct them on how to keep active, but it's easy to say yes, and yes, I've done it. And you know, things are more interesting to them, like going out and being with friends. But at the moment, I feel like I've got a really good group, a really conscientious group, ones that will want to be doing the most for their health and their lifestyle. And I've got others that have younger siblings and they want to be setting the right example. My biggest challenge when we're not in lockdown, I want some of my students to want success as much as what I want success for them. Some of them will, you know, be handed an opportunity on a plate. We've managed to get you into a new school, and then they have 12 weeks as like a reintegration period, and something happens. And then they come back to us and we're like, well, all right, we won't dwell on it. But, you know, obviously we've got some things that we need to address. So how are we going to address those things? But I want that they could have everything right now, but lots of them are putting the back burners on it and will try and stop anything positive from happening. It's more of a sadness than a challenge.
Wow, there's a big challenge. There's a big challenge. It's not easy. It's not easy, to be honest. No. Yeah. Do you grade them? Like, how do you evaluate them?
So we do everything to the GCSE syllabus. So even my key stage 3s I will grade them to it, because I will start teaching the year 8s and 9s the theory content for GCSE, because if they stick with us, hopefully they're not with us for too long. But the ones that are with us through to GCSE, I know that there'll be gaps in learning later on, and I need them to make sure that they've got all the knowledge possible. So we'll grade them to, the GCSE syllabus. I was looking at, I think it's called Head, Heart and Hands for Key Stage 3, which is, I think it's more of like a holistic-y side of it, and like what can I do, but that's for Key Stage 3, and I think and younger. But on previous experience of the Key Stage 3 students that we get, I don't think that would work. I think they rather having something.
But how's the progress? Because that syllabus is not designed for the pandemic period, isn't it? The GCSE one. So, but how was the progress? Do you lower the grade or?
No.
So we stick with the syllabus one.
Yeah, because if we go back and they say, well, you're going to have to do the normal exam because they cancelled our exams this year. I need them to be ready. I don't want to, under any circumstances, give them any kind of false hope that, if I'm grading you at a certain level now, and then they turn around and say that exams are going to go ahead, I can't conscientiously do that to you. So I decided not to change the way that I was grading anything. And we've just done mocks, like mock exams. So they did like a tester exam, and we had some good results, some really good answers, especially the essay questions, like at the end of the paper. They're getting much better at their writing, which is good for them. I think because they've had so much more time to actually focus on it, rather than, like, learning online is exciting because, you see all your friends on the screen, but they haven't had any actual classroom distraction from their writing. So I think whatever they've done in English this year online has been fantastic for us in PE. So I'm happy about that.
I think, last question to you, Hannah. We never know when the pandemic is going to be over.
Yeah.
What do you hope and wish, not just for your kids, for all the kids around the world, and maybe for the teacher and friends also?
The power of relationships, I think, is so important. And no matter how good online provision is, and me having the greatest Google Classroom of life, nothing will beat being in school and interacting with people. And I just want them to, I was watching a documentary the other day, and they were standing so close next to each other, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so weird. And that one, will it ever happen again? Will we be able to stand next to another teacher? Kids standing next to each other? I don't know. I want them to remember what it was like. And that, that it's sad, but I want them to be able to use equipment freely again, having to clean it every single time someone's used it, put it down and picked it back up again. That's not normal for them. It might be normal right now, but that's not what it was like before.
Kids miss our noisy voice.
Yes, definitely. What do you miss, or what do you hope for the future?
My hope that really pandemic should be over soon, because I wish because I miss the kids. I miss the kids, to be honest.
Yeah.
I miss the kids so much. I miss my soccer field school.
Yes.
I miss sun, because I think without PE education, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's
Look,
what
every
I,
school in the world has a playtime and a lunchtime, and you expect
yeah.
the students to go outside.
We love to see them running. We love to see them go to the monkey bar. Well,
Yeah.
Hannah, thank you so much for
No problem. It's
great
my
discussion
pleasure.
today. See
Definitely
ya.
no, invite me back whenever you want. Take care. Bye.
Bye, Hannah.